Hello, lovely people. It's Sunday again, and we're in the shed with a brew. And you can probably see behind me, it is getting a little bit cluttered again. Okay. Yeah, we've had a bit of a sort out. And my youngest, this is his telly. That's a box just behind my shoulder there with some of his stuff in. It's sort of like trying to get teenagers to go through their stuff is difficult. Right, this video, in on and gone number 54. But I'm going to start it by talking about New Balance. We'll go on to that in a minute in terms of its brand and how successful it has been. My name's James Smith and I run channel JR74. Please like, comment, subscribe to your heart's content. At the moment, predominantly about a little side hustle, about eBaying, about reselling. That's what I'm doing with the channel and trying to make it as educational as possible, sort of like talking about the stuff that sells well, the stuff that really doesn't sell well, the sort of pitfalls to look out for and the sort of bangers to look out for as well. So let's get on with this, shall we? Okay, and let's start with talking about New Balance. New Balance are a very, very successful American company that started in like the running craze of the late 70s, early 80s. Well, that's when they became predominant. The company could have been set up well before then. They were the first company as well to introduce a running shoe for over $100. Okay, I think that's what they're most famous for. But in terms of a marketing strategy, it turned out to be a very, very good one for them. I find that I do look out for the brand, but I haven't found much of it recently. So I thought to myself, it's mainly Nike and Adidas that I deal in. And but I did think to myself, no, let's start to widen the field a little bit. Let's look at a bit of ASICS. Let's look at a bit of New Balance as well. And I got a nice pair of New Balance Fresh Foam 515s. New Balance as well. The way they number their shoes, people can easily find what they're looking for. I quite like that. All right. But yeah, this was a pair of black Fresh Foam 515s. It got a lot of attention pretty much straight away. And I sourced them for £9.56. All right. They were a vintage source. Hence the precise sourcing cost. And because I got them as part of a bundle as well. So that's how much money I placed on this. And I sold them for £18.60. That includes postage. So £12.82 back on that £18.60. That's taking off the postage and the eBay fees, okay, which gave me £3.26 profit, which makes 34%. Now, those regular viewers to the channel will know that my target is 50 to 100. So yeah, it is just below that. And the reason for that is the sourcing, the cost of the sourcing. But I wanted to try them and they were in good condition. So, you know, they're in good condition as long as the photographs show that. Okay, quick sale, 34% markup within the space of a week. That's not bad. That's not bad. As I keep saying, trainers that are just your basic run-of-the-mill trainers, okay? They haven't got something like a torsion bar. They haven't got an air bubble. They're not a really popular trainer, just the normal run-of-the-mill ones. When I say popular trainer, I'm talking about Adidas Gazelles. I'm talking about Nike Air Force One. But Air Force Ones recently, the market's become so saturated with them, you don't really get much money for them now. But what I'm going to say is the figure to have in mind that these will sell at is £15. You're not. I was lucky with this because I got £18.60. I suppose that's adding the postage. So the offer was £15 plus the £3.60 postage. But that was because they were in such good condition. So if they're in good condition, I would say £15 is a realistic target. Don't be put off by the way in which other people price their eBay things. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get that price. So, yeah, and I would say that New Balance are a very, very good brand to sell in terms of trainers, and I will certainly be looking out for more of them. But you don't find them in the usual hunt. You do have to go looking for them. So looking I shall do. Yep, so those New Balance sold quickly, and another 4 things sold within 7 days of being put onto my store. So I'm going to let you now know what those other things were. The first thing, Bodm, coffee. I've said it quite a few times. Coffee stuff sells, especially names that are associated with coffee, and Bodm, Bodum, are definitely one of those names. This was just a cafetiere that I found, but it was quite obvious that it hadn't been used. There was no like coffee stains on it. It was in pretty good condition. So put it on, and yeah, it sold well within the week. It sold really, really quickly. This was quite a good one actually, because I paid £2 for it and I took an offer of £13.60. So yeah, that's including postage, but that's a good markup. I got £9.55 back after postage and fees, £7.55 profit, which is 377%. So really pleased with that. Yeah, you can usually pick these up in sort of like the bric-a-brac section of charity shops, or by just looking around. This one I got from many, we're not going to call them tips, because I think that gives it it gives it the impression that it's just, you know, just smelly and loads of like old mattresses around with flies everywhere. It's not like that anymore. We'll call them refuse centres. Many refuse centres have a shop attached to them now where they've taken all the decent stuff that people don't want anymore. So I found this in one of those shops. Have a look around at your local refuse centres. You might find that some have shops attached to them. But yeah, the good old tip shop. But yeah, Bodm, a good name to look out for. These next ones were a nice pair of run shorts that were part of a big bundle that I got just before Christmas. I got 50 pairs of shorts for a decent price, and basically it was like £1.90 per pair of shorts. And what I've done is I've phased them throughout the year. I think I've now put every single pair of shorts that I got from that bundle on, but these were some of the last ones that I put on, and they sold quite quickly. I think it could be a time of year thing, because obviously the weather's warm, and these shorts were like the Nike 3-inch run shorts in pink, little bit hot pantish, I would say. But yeah, a nice pair of shorts in decent condition, extra large size, £1.90 they cost me, and £9.35 they went for. So I got £4.93 back on those, £3.03 profit, which is 159%. Now, that I got the 159% because of the sourcing cost. The sourcing cost there was quite low. You see these in a charity shop, and they would be, you wouldn't make much money on that sort of offer. So because I sourced them for quite a low price, I was able to accept that sort of offer. And, you know, trying to get maximum profit all the time, it's impossible. You just can't do it. You just got to react to the situation that you've put yourself into. And if the situation that you put yourself into is that you've sourced them at quite a low cost, if somebody comes in with just a normal run-of-the-mill offer, you can take them. That's exactly what happened here for 159%. So, yeah, I'm pleased with that. This next one, footy stuff, Liverpool. I find Liverpool sells quick. It does. It's one of the quickest selling teams, even though there's an absolute abundance of Liverpool stuff on eBay. It does move quite quickly. This was just a nice dry fit Liverpool top, Nike for kids. It was sort of like the large kids one. I think, what is it, 158 to 170 centimetres is sort of like the biggest kid size before Nike then goes into small. But I sourced this for £4 and sold it for £13.60. You know, kits from a few years ago, I keep saying it, they are becoming more popular. Kids don't mind wearing them anymore because, you know, people will like say, oh yeah, I remember such and such a player wearing that kit, or hey, I really like that season's kit, sort of thing. Kids don't. When I was a kid, it was all about the latest kit. Because sort of like during the start of the 80s, kits were relatively the same, but then the manufacturers got hold of them and the sponsors got hold of them, and the kits were like changed every year, and you had to have the latest kit. So yeah, I think it's slightly different now because we're 50 years down the line and so many kits have been released. I think because there's such a choice and such a plethora of kits, vintage kits are now very, very in demand. So yeah, this one worked out nicely. As I said, £13.60 back, £8.55. Sorry, £13.60 taken as the offer, £8.55 back, which gives me £4.55 profit, which is 113%. Yeah, if you can source any football kit under a fiver, even the kids' football kits, goes quite quick. And I think these sales make me smile because it means that the parents aren't having to fork out a whole load of money, because football kits now, it is ridiculous the amount that they actually cost. I can't see how they can justify it. But, you know, some kids live in these football tops. So, yeah, that brings a smile to my face. Nice. And finally, another brand to mention, and I do mention this brand quite a lot, and it's White Stuff. Okay, White Stuff and Fat Face. Their stuff sells pretty quick, and Weird Fish as well. But Weird Fish is really just like the quarter zip jumpers. For some reason, they go really well. But yeah, White Stuff pair of jeans, crop jeans these were, ladies crop jeans, red, size 10, sourced them for £4.50. £13.60 paid for them, because in the shops they would be northwards of £30, and as long as your photographs show they're in good condition, then you know people will pay them and people will buy them. £8.55 back on that, £4.05 profit, and that gave me a 90% markup. So the quick sellers this week have done quite well. It's only really those New Balance, 34%, but you know I'm not going to get it on everything, am I? Okay, but the other four things were either above or well within that target bracket. So yeah, pleased. All in all, for the numbers for this week, for the quick sellers, I always give the numbers for the quick sellers. £21.96 spent. Okay, £44.40 back, which gives £22.44 profit, which is £4.48. So actually, I've just remembered not to look at the screen. I'm doing this on my phone to look at the camera. Okay, I keep telling myself that. All right, sorry. All right, because somebody commented, it looks as though I'm looking at the person sitting next to you. So yeah, that's because I'm looking at the screen, not the camera. Look at the camera. So from that, where were we? Yeah, okay. I am sorry, I'm just finding my place again. Yeah, the average markup was 154%. Okay, the average cost or the average profit made from each thing this week was £4.48. So if you're selling, say like 3 things a day, which isn't an unrealistic target, £4.48. So you're looking at 12, 30, about £13.50 per day. Over 10 days, that's 130 quid. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, as a side hustle, if you want to market even more and turn it into a business, you know, go ahead. You know, see if you can scale it up. But just as a side hustle, this is certainly something that is doable. And if you look back through my channel, you will see the advice that I give on making it doable. Honestly, this channel dedicated to education. But not everything sells within the 5 days. Okay, I've got 5 more things to mention to you now that are to do with what has sold this week, but taking a little bit longer. Not too much longer. Not too much longer. I think I'm still the average sale. I think it would be below 30. It would be below 30 days. So yeah, it's the education. It's the experience. It's the remembering what sells quickly. It's the keeping of records so that you know what sells quickly. That's really important. But these were a pair of Dartington stoneware mugs. Mrs. S apparently told me that this look is in, this sort of like grey, earthy stoneware look. These mugs were £1, and I sold them for £13.60. Now, ceramics, the sourcing cost on ceramics is usually quite good, is usually quite low. The thing about ceramics is sending them, because obviously they could break. And what I find is bubble wrap, newspaper, and a box within a box usually gives you enough protection for them to get to wherever they need to go in one piece. But as I said, £13.60, £6.68 back after fees and postage, which is £5.68 profit, which gave me 568%. So yeah, pleased with that. All right, well, of course I'm pleased with that. Okay, so for £1, they got me £5.68 back. Nice. Next up, pair of sweatshorts. These sell well. I think it's sort of like, it's the lounge wear, isn't it? Lots of people wear these sort of shorts just around the house. They're comfy, they're warm, yeah, they've become more and more popular recently, especially the Nike and Adidas ones. Puma do quite a few, but they do take longer to sell. Don't know why. It's Nike and Adidas that sell quick on these. These were again part of that big bundle that I got. So £1.90, £10.60 sold them for, £5.99 back, £4.09 profit, 215%. So again, well above that target bracket that I have. So yeah, pleased with that. Okay, can't mustn't grumble, mustn't moan. Nice little offer that came in, took it immediately. When the offers come in, obviously don't be stuck to your phone. Okay, but it is good to have eBay on your phone as well. So if you're out and about during the day and an offer comes in and you have the time to have a look at the offer, do it, because if they make the offer and you accept it quite quickly, the likelihood is that they were going to pay quickly as well, and you're going to get the money quick. If you leave it till the end of the day, you're not striking while the iron is hot, and it might take a little bit longer. Some would pay immediately, some all good, they've accepted it, a couple of hours later. But if you can do it quite quickly, or if you have the way and means to do that, I would do it. Have I done the yes, I have done the numbers on that one. Good stuff. God, the old memory. Next up, this one's associated with a hobby, and I do find that anything that I put on associated with this hobby usually goes quite quickly. And the hobby is horse riding, or like the country look. And this was a nice padded gilet that you see many people riding horses wear them either underneath their sort of like their body armor or over their body armor. But this was a nice country estate Amersham padded gilet. Okay, cost me £3, sold it for £11.60. This took a long time to shift. This was on for nearly a year, but it shifted in the end. £6.56 back on it, £3.56 profit, 118%. So yeah, it took a bit of time to shift, but I mean, here I got a pair of riding boots. All right, there's no brand name on them, but they're in good nick. Got a bit of mud down the side there, if you can see that. I actually wiped that with like a wet cloth to try and get it off, but it's not coming off. So I think a bit of alcohol to rub on that should work, okay, to bring that up nicely. They're in pretty good nick. The buckle is, well, I think they've only been worn a couple of times. There's a buckle on there. There's also a zip up the back as well. So yeah, riding stuff sells. Well, in this case, eventually, but yeah, it will sell. It will go. So yeah, okay. Would have been nice if that went a bit quicker, but still pleased. There's a fly that's found its way into the shed. I don't know if you can hear it. I will try and save it in a minute and, show it where the exit is. Next up, Adidas Adventure trail hoodie, or trial hoodie, whatever you want to call it. But Adidas Adventure, it's not around anymore. Adidas Adventure doesn't exist anymore. They discontinued it. It was, I think it's like a 1990s, 2000s sort of subsidiary of Adidas. And yeah, the stuff goes well. It goes quickly. This was about 2 weeks, so I couldn't put it in my 7-day one, but it did sell quite quick. It was large as well. It was like a cream. It just had Adidas Adventure on it, and it was in nice condition. £8.26 this cost me. £21 it sold for. So yeah, the retro look, the vintage look, the look associated with the sub brands of big companies that they don't do anymore. If you can get your hands on them, they usually sell quite well. £14.87 back after postage and eBay fees. £6.61 profit, which is 80%. So yeah, okay, in the bracket, well within the bracket, pleased. Haven't mentioned linen yet. I haven't, have I? But I'm going to. Yet again, a pair of linen trousers sold. And yeah, these didn't go in the week, but they went within 2 weeks. And there was quite a few questions about this, and that was my fault because I forgot to include a picture of the label, because these were linen blend and it didn't show the composition. What were they blended with? Because some linen trousers are blended with cotton, some are blended with viscose. And actually the question that came to me was a bit of a slap on the wrist for me, because it reminded me of how important it is to get this information out there. And obviously it takes like less than a couple of seconds, doesn't it, to take the photo? But for some reason I forgot to do it and didn't put it on. The question was about, are they 100% linen? And if I would have put a photograph of the makeup of the trousers, because they were linen blend, they were a nice pair of Marks and Spencer's light blue linen blend trousers, but they were blended with viscose, 55% linen, 45% viscose. So I went back to her and I said, no, it's a linen blend. And she said, oh, I'm not, thank you, but no. I even sent her a little offer. Okay, if somebody sends a question to you, eBay has a facility for you to send an offer back to that person, because if they're questioning you, they're interested in the product. So if you send them an offer, they could be that they say, yeah, okay, we'll have that. But she just wanted 100% sort of like natural ingredients into the pair of trousers. But it wasn't much longer before somebody did snap them up. Light blue linen trousers, I paid £5 for them, £13.60 they sold for, £8.23 back, £3.23 profit, which is 64%. So again, well within the 50 to 100 bracket. Yeah, so some good sales this week. Things, I've been posting things every morning. My usual routine is to sort out things that people have bought the previous day. I have like an hour before I go to work to sort of like wrap everything up, put the labels on, and then I'll stop at a shop on the way to work and post them then. So it's a good little routine, and I find that I can get stuff out quite quickly, which is good. You know, it's what people are looking for. Get it into the postal system pretty much as quickly as you can. This week I've put on quite a few pairs of trainers, some golf polos, and couple of pairs of trousers as well. So just like the general stuff just going on there. Yeah, it's just been just a normal week. The trainers were like some Nikes, I did pick up some Clark's ones. Clark's trainers usually sell quite well. And already by looking, it's had quite a few views too. So hopefully I'll be telling you about those next week. Right. Enjoy your Sunday. Nice little Father's Day, isn't it? Okay. The weather's nice and relaxing. Okay. Put your feet up, Dad. Cheers. Bye-bye.